This is a TalkStation original podcast.
This is Marlin Masters, a brand new podcast from the Carteret County News-Times, where we hear from the renowned captains of the Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament. We talk about how they got their start, the big fish they've caught, and the ones that got away. This episode with Chuck Lindner of Honey Hush is brought to you by Anglers Marine in Morehead City, Carolina's premier dealer. We're here with Chuck Lindner, captain of the Honey Hush since 1980. Chuck,
I thought you were going to say 1900.
No, since 1980, you've been the captain of the Honey Hush. It's a 62-foot Spencer yacht owned by Robert Warren. You've been partnered with that family for a little more than 4 decades now. We got Big Rock coming up. Does it get old, or does the excitement still hit you when the Big Rock comes around?
The excitement is always there. It's just such a big tournament. It does so much for the community, not just the fishermen, but for the whole community. The charitable giving from the Big Rock Foundation is they've given over $10 million. And it not only helps their core charities, but the other organizations, the nonprofits in the community that need help. It assists those organizations it gives them a little step up to help out with what they need to accomplish for the community. So to me, it's not just the fishing, it's what the Big Rock does for the community.
Well, and Giving Tuesday, that's what they call it, right?
Correct.
Giving Tuesday the last few years has been pretty exceptional.
It is, my memories when I first started.
What was your first Big Rock?
Probably 76 range.
Okay.
Wow.
Just a couple years after it started.
No.
Chuck's like, come on now.
Come on now. I'll try to cover the grave. Back then there were cow cutters going on for tournaments. There was no organized, really the guys would just come in and they start doing a cow cutter, bet on this boat, bet on that boat, cigar box. And look at to where it has grown today. First place with millions of dollars available, all the different opportunities in the categories. The winner take all dolphin, and you look back when the first one was with $250 some by just a few folks that started it.
Silver dollars, yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, even you mentioned the 70s, and I think we've had Inspiration Captain Casey Wagner in here, who's also on the Big Rock board, talk about Big Rock used to be a little trailer on a gravel parking lot, and now it's one of the biggest fishing tournaments in the entire world.
It is, and guys come from all over. The boats come in here, and used to be down on the waterfront, 42, 43, 47 foot was the pride of the fleet. And then it became 53, 55 foot, then 60. Now you're looking at 70, 80, 90 foot vessels coming in here that where 15 to 16, 17, 18 knots was top speed. Now if you're not cruising 35, buddy, you're getting left behind.
No doubt. And there's a lot of new technology involved nowadays, and I'm sure it's changed quite a bit. Do you feel like it's changed for the better?
For the fishermen, yes. For the fish, no.
Sure, that's fair.
That's a good answer.
Fishermen, yes. Fish, no. But the days of the guys going out by compass and radio direction and hey, there's the oil slick, there's the wreck. Is now translated to Lorraine A, C, all the GPS, all the new fish transducers that come along. Now you've got the Omni sonar, which is really, that's taking the cake now.
Do y'all have one on Honey Hush?
We have just got one.
Ooh, look out.
That's got to be, how many yards out?
They will tell you, but before with the old machines, the up downs, you're seeing below the vessel. Now with the sonar, they came out with the 8, and there's a couple other Simrads and stuff, but the 8 they project it to maybe 1,200 foot each side, that range. I think most guys are looking more 800, 900 to get a definite target. The 10 they came out with is now projecting, I think they'll tell you around 2,000 feet, but I hear 1,200 to 1,500. Wow. So that's 360 all the way around. Whereas before you were just looking down,
right,
to see what you could see. So
Have you had a chance to use it during this tournament season? We've only 2 tournaments in.
No, sir. Just got it finished up Saturday.
Oh, wow.
So we just
Chuck,
rolled
are
back
you
into
excited
town.
to get out there and test
Christmas
that out?
time.
Yes, technology is always great.
Is there a part of you that's a little bit...
There's a learning experience you have to go through. I've heard there's some guys with 10s that they were used to the 8. They got the 8 down pat, and the new 10 came out, and it's a learning curve from the 8 to the 10. So that the settings on the old 8 will not work on the new 10. So it's something you've got to learn all over again. If you had an 8, if you're starting with a 10, it may be okay until the next unit comes out, and you've got to relearn all over again. So
And I've heard some boats, they have people that's their job is just to look at the Omni.
there are some boats you've got the high dollar boats, I'll say that have got the capability to hire a sonar operator. I've heard some figures of some sonar operators getting $60,000 for 8 or 10 tournaments a year.
Wow! Just because you know the
work
settings
you
and you know what to do with it.
No telling what the percentage would be if they produce and win,
Oh, wow.
help to win. But it's tough for a captain on the bridge to be monitoring the sonar. Your eyes want to stay glued to that because you're looking for the target, and then you're out there fishing amongst other boats, and who's going to play the traffic cop? You know, your head's buried down here looking. Well, there's 2 or 3 boats crossing in front of you, but they seem to mostly get it figured out for the most part.
Well, and technology is not everything. I think we've already gone too far into this episode without mentioning that Chuck has won the Big Rock and
Pre-technology.
Well, I mean, there's we had some good tools here in 2018, but certainly pre-Omni for the Honey Hush. You all won first place in the 60th annual Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament in 2018 with a 518.5 pound blue marlin that Robert Gorell reeled in, and I think y'all won $753,000, somewhere in that range of money from the tournament. That's pretty good.
That was an exciting event. You know, there was a time, a few days, because Bob's son, Rob had ankle surgery replacement that spring, and until a week or so before the tournament began, he was not sure he was going to be able to go. You know, the doctor did not release him until a week before. So there we got our guy that normally the wire man on a gimpy ankle, you know, and we all knew, hey, we can't go when it's rough because he can't make a misstep with that ankle. So we didn't fish the first day.
Oh,
we
wow.
We elected not to go Monday.
Which is usually a big day.
Big day because, you know, most folks get in that first 500-pounder to the dock category, and we've always not elected to do that because it just makes you want to fish the first 4 days if there's not a fish caught every day. And then Rob always likes to kind of plan the week out according to weather, which at my age, I don't blame him one bit. But that first day, we did not go, and the second day looked pretty, and we went. And luck is by far, we were lucky to be able to fish that week, much less be able to go out there and hook a fish. And Robbie did a great job in the chair. Fish came in hot and took about an hour or so, I believe. But that would have been the first 500-pounder to the dock. But hey, you know, we were just lucky to be out there.
Sure.
Technology to find the fish, as it grew, you went from looking for the fish, reading the water, listening to the other fishing buddy reports, to the satellite photos coming out, roffers coming out, everybody being able to get a satellite shot. But when it's cloudy, that does you no good, so you've got to go back and kind of rely on what you grew up with. And now you've got the Omni Furuno, which takes a lot of people describe it as you just riding around looking for a target.
Looking for that little banana.
Looking for a little hot dog. And it's just improvements that come. Marine technology every 6 months is going to upgrade.
Yeah.
whatever you see at Fort Lauderdale show, Miami show, and you purchase it then, you can believe 6 to 8 months later there'll be something new coming out.
Sure.
But that week itself was tough because we were the second fish to weigh in. And you look down the dock and you see folks that have been fishing forever. And you're like, well, hey, maybe it'll hold up, maybe it won't. But a long time before that, we had caught a 632 pounder. And we were like, hey, man, 600 pounders, nice fish. We brought it in, weighed it. By the time we got back to the slip, started cleaning up, the announcement came over the radio, 644. And we were already bumped second place in less than an hour. So the 518 wasn't really what I'd say a strong fish to beat, like a 600, 700, 800 pounder.
But that's all that needed to be beat that year.
But it did. It held up. There were 7 fish boated, I believe, that last day.
Oh, was that year? Oh,
that was that last day. And we were still holding up, and I had to watch 3 or 4 of those fish get caught. And I'm looking over at one boat. I said, that boy's been fishing for 40 years. He knows what he's doing. He's been fighting that fish for an hour and a half. Boys, we can forget it. You know,
No, I remember.
You lost that tournament 2 or 3 times that day, didn't you?
Yeah.
We got to just kind of hope for the best, expect the worst, right? I mean, no, that was a
long last day, wasn't it?
It was. And then I heard Carteret hook up, and I could see him out on the outside line, and then the fender bender. Oh, wow. And we came to the dock, and one by one, Captain Randy would read out the weights as we were on the way in, and they were all not over 500. And then Carteret came in with a 500 and 0.5, I think.
Yeah, it was like third place or something like that.
And they got the first 500 pounder to the dock, and then we're waiting there for fender bender to come in for another hour and a half. And
it was a long night.
Just holding your breath all day, weren't you?
Yes, sir. Wow. And when they announced 514, we could finally say, phew.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that day because I think all of the fish that were boated was because I think the lines come out that day at 2, and instead of 3, and I believe all of the fish that were boated were like 11:30 and on, because it was one of those deals where you're like, okay, well, this is going to be a nice quiet last day, and I'm gonna start writing my story to get ready for, and then boom, 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 and it was just one thing after another, and boy, that's a tough time to. So that wasn't your first time backing into the weigh station with a fish. Then how many times have you had a chance to do that?
I think we've done it maybe 3 times.
Okay.
I think I can remember.
What's that like? I mean, people describe it as a rock star moment.
It is, because you've accomplished your goal. You've done what you set out to do. Preparation met opportunity equals success. And it's just a different feeling to see that crowd in there, knowing that they're cheering for you. Everybody's happy you caught a fish. It's just an awesome few moments.
I mean, it can be between 5,000 and 10,000 people on those docks, and this was 18. So was that? Yeah. So the new that was the new weigh station then, and I mean they're blasting music. You're on the screen. People around the world are watching. I mean it's a moment. You're just trying to back it up nice and gently into the slip. And
yeah, don't tear anything
that's
up.
Right.
Boys.
That's right.
Hope it's not low tide and
that's
mess
right.
your wheels up.
Yeah.
But it's cool, and for me, it's knowing that all those people are there for something they may have never even seen before, and that we've been able to experience that multiple years through our lifetime. And a lot of people don't get to go offshore, so when they come down to see that, hopefully they're going into the Big Rock store to buy T-shirts and other items that will help contribute to what the Big Rock can give to the local charities. That's the way I see now backing into that slip.
It's an economic stimulator.
It is. It's
certainly
big economic.
Well, and the thing I love about the culture here too, and I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but I know it is here at the Big Rock and in Morehead City, is that a lot of the people that are involved, you mentioned Randy, the Waymasters, Randy Gregory and George Lott, when they, they're impartial, but when they yell out that weight, they're happy for the people that have been fishing this tournament for a long time.
It is, and I've got to mention Dale Ward.
Oh, of course.
Dale fished with us a lot. He was the best man at my wedding. So
Oh wow.
I've got to mention that name, and I will tell you one little story if we have time. That Our buddy Dale Ward, who is legit, when he used to do the king mackerel tournaments, he made the guy develop the Tory meter and upset some of the king mackerel guys. Well, hey, that fish has been frozen, But when Dale stepped up to be weighmaster, that was his job. He did it 200% the way he should have. But we did catch a fish in the Big Rock one year. And that's back when it was like 100 inches, 300 pounds. And we felt like it was close, so we brought it in. And here comes the weighmaster, Captain Ward. Permission to come aboard. That was always his statement. Permission to come aboard.
Love that protocol.
So then he whips out his tape measure, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at the fish, and he's looking back at me, and he pulls that tape measure out, and it was a 100-inch minimum back then. And it's just as loud a voice as you could understand him. 99 3/4.
Oh,
So we're a 1/4 inch short of the
Now,
minimum.
it's either or, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, he weighed 330 pounds.
Okay, there you go.
So that was cool that our buddy stood up for what he believed in and went
Sure.
by the rules, 99 3/4. And we're like, when he came to fish with us at Hatteras the next week, we're like, hey, man.
You could have made it that 1/4 inch. Yeah.
Come on, buddy. What's the matter with you? But,
Well, you're referring to, for those that might not know, the federal minimum, I believe, is still 100 or 99 and 300 pounds. But Big Rock has upped its minimum to 110 inches and 400 pounds. And the tournament is a big believer in conservation. And if you don't have to kill it, there's great release prizes in this tournament. A lot of money to be given out if you want to just release.
there is, and there are a lot of boats that just go after that release prize
Sure.
because it's a little bit easier to release them than to boat them. But some guys get in a little trouble when they got smaller tackle out and the big one comes along, and then it's an all-day fight. And tackle fails and stuff.
So is that why sometimes I know the fight can be long for various reasons, but tangled up or it's just gone down to the bottom or what have you. But I didn't think about that lighter tackle would result in a longer, more strenuous fight if you were hooked up for release.
It does, and Bob and
interesting.
Rob were always about big fish. They didn't care about numbers. They didn't care about little fish. If you're going to fish the Big Rock, you're fishing for the big one. So we're always heavy tackle, just as heavy as you can go. And the little ones come up there.
It's too much for them.
We're not going to worry about it. Release it. You know, that's not the one we're looking for. So,
Take us back to the start. How does Chuck Lindner become a charter boat captain?
oh gosh, really was never a charter boat captain as such. I did have my license at an early age.
Or a boat captain, I should say.
Yeah, sport fishing captain.
There you go.
We always had a fishing pole in my hands from as soon as I can remember. It was brim, bass, catfish. Parents would have a reunion down here at the beach every year, and then it turned into pompano, bluefish, and Spanish. And a friend of mine, his dad purchased a 35 Bertram shortly after we got out of high school, and my buddy and I brought us, and we just seemed to want to work more so than play. So we were 7 days a week. We both had our little contracting business. His dad made a proposition to us, hey, you boys can take this boat and go wherever you want to, as long as you pay the fuel and you pay the slip rent. And we looked at each other and said, we're going to Oregon Inlet. And we did. That was in 75, 76 range. And we got to fish a couple summers up there, August, September. And that was the start of a lot of the bill fishing stuff that we got to experience. We also came down here in June, July to fish the Big Rock and a couple other smaller tournaments down here. And I got the opportunity to move down here, which was a life-changing decision. But I still enjoyed the fishing aspect, got to fish with some guys on the weekend, went commercial fishing, started with VP doing some commercial fishing stuff, and that's actually when Bob got that Bertram in 1980, and we were slipped next to each other at Anchorage. And they asked me to take it up to Oregon Inlet because we'd been up there and we'd caught the fish, and coming back from Morgan Inlet is the year he said, he wrote me out a little note on a slip and said, I want you to consider this. So that's when he asked me to be his captain. And I'm like, okay, work 7 days a week or have a job doing what I love.
No doubt.
And that's how that started. Almost 45
I feel like
years.
I feel like this is a common thing with a lot of these captains we talk to, where at some point in their life they had to roll the dice a little bit, take a gamble on themselves and their passion, and even if it didn't work out right away, they find their place eventually, and I'm sure there's not a day that goes by that you don't love the decision that you made.
You always wonder what path you took is whether what would have decided your life.
Sure.
If you could have taken another path, but I've got no issues with it. It's something that got in my blood, and I see these other guys that get on the big rigs that travel, go all over the world fishing. They're away from the family. Being with Bob and Rob has allowed me to stay here and be a part of my family, which to me means the most.
Yeah.
You were able to have more of a normal, quote unquote life.
We did have the option. Bob came up a couple of times. Hey, I sure would like to go to Florida and take the boat here, take the boat there. And I was always like, okay, if you can go when the fishing's good and the weather's good, let's do it. But if you and Bob and Rob both workaholics. Bob was leave the work site at Friday. After work closed, lock the doors, we're going to the beach, go fishing. We can fish Saturday, maybe Sunday, but I'm going to be back at work Monday morning. So if that opportunity couldn't present itself when we sent the boat down south of something, then he's liable to miss, the best of the fishing during the middle of the week.
Sure.
And if he had to go back on to work, then on Monday, then he might miss it, So we talked about it, decided not to do it, and fortunately had some friends next door to his house there in Spooners Creek that offered to go a long ride with him to the Bahamas, St. Thomas, Chubb, Florida, Mexico. So we didn't have to take the honey hush. And it seemed like both of those guys, Bob and Rob, when the summer ended, September rolled around, fishing poles went down, and he picked the guns up and they went to go hunting. And I'm like, hey, that agrees with me.
Yeah.
And come the end of May, especially Rob now, Rob is a big turkey hunter. So he'll tell me, don't expect to see me during turkey season.
Sure.
And turkey guns go down and fishing poles get picked up, and here we go.
Well, one of the things I love when we speak to captains is to, obviously fishing is a passion, but usually there's another passion behind it. And for you, over the last 30 years, I think you've been involved with the Little League.
Morehead City Little League since my two boys started. Fritz III, a.k.a. Chucky's, probably started in 1995.
Okay, yeah, that's 30 years. Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to ask. You're a captain, and these are not bankers' hours, and that you're involved with Little League. You got boys playing baseball. Did you just sacrifice sleep for a long time there?
Still do.
Yeah. Still waiting on that.
There are
8
days
hours.
when, and I'm thankful the Warren family understood that, but there are days when Little League will consume 8 to 10 to 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, it's got to be, people got to think of it, it's about the kids. It's about the kids for the future. They will be our future, hopefully productive citizens and our future leaders, and we've got to keep them off the street. They have to be interested in something other than video games, the telephone, and what's going out on the wrong side of the street. So that is a passion. I'm still involved in it. I'd like to see the kids progress. It's tough for me to say that I see kids that I coached are now back with their kids. But I've experienced that lately in the last 4, 5, 6 years, and it's just cool to see that they've grown. And even my own son now has a little granddaughter who's been working on hitting off the tee. She can throw the ball. She loved to hit off the tee and watch the Labrador go after the ball.
Sure.
So that's just it, to see kids come up from 3 and 4 and 5 years old and become students. We've got kids that have offered to come back and help in Little League. Logan Epps does a equipment swap. That's part of his passion to come out. And you go through the season and kids outgrow cleats and bats and gloves every 6 months. So we offer that beginning and end of each season, the equipment swap. Hey, come, if you see something you like, take it. If you want to bring something and leave it, leave it. Somebody else can use it. It's not cheap to play any type of sports anymore.
That's true.
So we try to watch after the families and make sure they don't get too stressed out.
So you were getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening you were out on the Little League field.
When the Crystal Coast Wood Bat tournament comes in July, which is a big economic boost for this county, yes, it's probably longer than that.
Wow.
Especially if we get rain or something. But that Crystal Coast Wood Bat World Series has become a very large economic impact for the county. That weekend, we're now projected to have 90 to 100 teams coming this July 17th to the 20th. The Perfect Game organization has taken it over. And they are the #1 elite organization in the country.
Oh, wow.
They will host a 300-team tournament every July, 1 week for 16-year-olds, 1 week for 17-year-olds. And that's 300 teams at a time, and every MLB scout will be there. Every college coach will be there watching those kids who are hoping to impress somebody to get either a scholarship or some type of offer, whether it's D1, 2, 3, JUCO, or they sign MLB guys because kids come from all over the world, South America, Japan, to play in that series. But Perfect Game is now coming with the Crystal Coast Wood Bat World Series, and Morehead City Little League has been involved in that since 2010. It's not only our only fundraiser, it helps us to make improvements at Swenson Park, which the county's got a lot on their plate. They've got a budget they've got to work with. I get it. County taxpayers don't like to pay a lot of taxes, but there are needs for the kids. We need more fields. We need spaces for kids to play. So I'm not against raising my hand and say, hey, let's help out the county. We can bring in this tournament to raise funds. It's just like the Big Rock, what the Big Rock does for the community. We can also do this for the community. So I want our kids and our parents to understand this is helping the community.
Yeah. And
we should know, although Marlin Masters and the Paper Boys podcast are two different things, this is the first father-son podcast thing we've had. Chris Lindner.
Was he on?
Yeah, because he was when he got in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. He was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is our first father-son podcast.
Army. Yeah. Okay, he was on. You're right. This is the first. Is this the first father-son combo? Yeah. Of course, different podcasts, like you said.
Still, close
but
enough.
That's pretty cool. You're right.
West Carteret Hall of Famer Chris Lindner.
That's cool. That was he worked very hard at it. You know, I probably would say that what I could be most proud of him was being named the conference student athlete of the year in his senior year.
And at Army, yeah, he was right. He was scholar athlete, yeah.
Not only athletics, and I stress that to all our kids. That wasn't just
baseball. That was everything, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was all athletics.
So the kids of today not only need to know that strive to be the best you can in sports, but any day an injury can steer your sporting career another direction. So work on the brain, work on a career choice other than sports, so you have it to fall back on if it doesn't pan out.
That's right. Black Hawk pilot.
That's right.
Yeah. What a cool career.
Where are you from originally, Chuck?
I was born in Virginia.
Okay.
Blue Ridge Mountains.
What part? Oh, okay. Shenandoah area. Or?
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful country.
Stuart Straft.
Oh, wow.
If you know that little town.
Okay.
But the mountains are always going to be beautiful. But I moved to the beach, put a little sand in my toes, and some fishing.
Was your family coming down here when you were a kid?
They were. They started a family reunion, and we had mom and dad's brothers, sisters were coming from all over the country. Michigan,
Was it Atlantic
Virginia.
Beach or?
Inward Isle.
There you go. Okay.
Always at Inward Isle, Finn Cannon number 2.
Well, because back then, Emerald Isle wasn't what it is today.
No, it was
a sandy strip. There wasn't a lot going on.
I can remember the drive down there was very long and very sandy.
Yeah.
But now it's grown, and we still try to have that reunion for those of the cousins remaining. But
And is that when you fell in love with fishing, coming down here as a kid?
yes, sir. My older cousins would let me go out there, and they'd watch me since I was 3, 4, 5 out there fishing, make sure I didn't get too far out.
You casting off from the beach, or
from the beach? We'd go to the pier, eventually to the boats.
Wow.
Dad took me on a couple head boats, and then we graduated to a few sport fishing boats, and just it's a resource that a lot of people don't get to enjoy. And it's still in my blood.
The bug bit you bad, isn't it?
And my oldest son Chucky, he played baseball. He's now got a little granddaughter who I've threatened to take her fishing for the very
See if
first
she'll
time.
catch the bug.
And they're
Pass it
expecting
down.
another one in November. So boy or girl, that one's also going to learn how to fish. And Chris was actually down here this weekend and got to get out and caught some bluefish in Spanish and struck out on the cobia, but we had bluefish in Spanish Sunday night.
How about that?
Which is hard to beat, fresh bluefish.
Memorial Day weekend.
Well, you've been a part of this tournament for so long. What do you attribute to the massive growth of the Big Rock?
I would say since we started, we were back in the old Calcutta days, but you got a board of directors who started promoting it. And they stepped up, and you got to admit to Captain Randy's voice when it goes out on that radio. People, I mean, we come 8 o'clock for the blessing, you turn your other radios down, you listen to the blessing. And Captain Randy just throughout the day, and Richard, and whoever else might come in there to take over, that's a worldwide audience. Just the conversation is enjoyable to listen to. I mean, I love it.
We're talking
They do
about
a great job.
Captain Randy Ramsey and
Captain
Richard
Randy
Crowe.
Ramsey, Richard Crowe, yes, sir. But you got a board of directors that came along as the tournament was growing, and they started promoting it, getting the foundation set, the giving part, the charity part of it. And who can not want to be a part of a great fishing event that also gives to your community? You look at the core charities, what they've done for those through the years, and then the nonprofits and Moyes City Little League's benefited. We've gotten 3 different grants, $283,000 that has not only helped our kids, but has helped Carteret County make improvements to Swenson Park, which therefore helps the community and makes the Wood Bat tournament want to come back. But the board of directors are dedicated folks. They've promoted it. The money has gotten bigger. The boats have gotten faster. Economy, there's years when the economy goes south that maybe you don't get as many, but normally people are going to save up for the Big Rock. That is the granddaddy, the Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it. The Indianapolis 500. Everybody.
The Masters.
The Masters of
the
sport fishing.
I was never a
Yeah.
golfer.
Well, I mean, you look at, like, I think, COVID was post-COVID, since there's been a huge growth. But really going back to that year that you won is when we normally point to around that 17, 18 area where it started to double each year or go up $1 million or $2 million each year.
Growth.
Yeah, it really began to change. Do you feel like there's still a little bit of, as these new boats come in from off, do you feel like there's still a little bit of home field advantage for the folks that know these waters well?
There is, with the technology of the Omni and the satellite stuff, it makes it tough. But yes, the home crowd, you always root for the home crowd. They get to fish these waters every day. Some of these guys are fishing every day. You've got your charter boats down there that fish 150, 180 days, and they know it like the back of their hand. So yes, that hometown advantage, you always hope that the hometown guys do well. But with the technology, and still it could be someone on the worst boat with the worst fishing gear, the worst tackle, the worst bait rigging that could get lucky.
Could walk right into it. And, of course, we don't want to say the worst, but we've had Outboard won it in 2020. So, I mean,
Just never know.
You just never know.
If you're in the right place at the right time and preparation and opportunity equals success, you could be on any boat.
That's right.
How many people are still doing it, Chuck, that are still, when you were starting, how many of y'all are left?
Is there a bit of a crowd that when you go to that captain's meeting, you're like, all right, here we go.
Me and you, we've been here since day one.
That's a tough question because I've seen a lot of dear friends leave this earth, but you always think about them. There are a handful of the old guys left. I ran across one in Wanchese. He's now 80 years old, and he just had a hip replacement. He's uncertain if he'll be able to make the Big Rock, but
Who's this?
This was Ken Miller on
Okay.
the Outlaw,
Okay.
who won in, I forget when it was, but Ken has been a dedicated fisherman. I actually met Ken in the late 70s at the Hatteras Marlin Club tournament. In 1980, I believe it was, he boated 3 blue marlin in one day.
Oh, wow.
That was the last day Edison Meekins, or the last year Edison Meekins was manager of the Marlin Club. They weighed 16 blue marlins that day.
Wow.
So you see the transition to release tournaments from kill tournaments and the conservation aspect coming in, and the Big Rock has now promoted conservation. And some years you may have a couple fish taken, and other years may have 6, 7, 8, 10. Maybe.
Yeah, ideally you want that big one to come in on day 1 or day 2.
That would be nice
sets
to
the pace.
limit the under 400 pounds being
Yeah.
brought in. But on the last day, a lot of crews are going to feel like, hey, if this fish is close, we're going to take it to the dock.
Well, I mean, and look at last year when you had $3 million winners. I mean, even if a big fish has been caught, there's various ways that there's still money on the table for that last day of fishing.
There's so many categories. The
So
winner
many.
take all dolphin, the meat fish categories are
Yeah.
now paying a good amount of money. So there's opportunities to make money at every little species of fish. And it's become one of the finest tournaments I can think of.
And how many more years will we be fishing the Big Rock?
We all hope to fish until we can't.
I mean, with the Omni on board now, it's going to be a little while.
As long as you get in the boat and out of the boat, you're going to keep doing it, huh?
That's a good statement there, because I had a question, and my oldest son, Chucky, and his wife are medical folks, nurse practitioner and an RN, and I got a little pain right here in my upper thigh, and they tried to call it bursitis, which it might take a little extra help, but you never know, just like Rob and his ankle that year. Ken had his hip replacement. There's a couple guys, Ron Whitaker's, I stayed with him during the Hatteras Village Offshore Open. We didn't fish it, but
2 weeks ago, or
yes, 2 weeks
Wow.
ago, because they've called me to
2 Big
do
Rock
the-
winners just hanging out.
Yeah, how about
Well,
that?
I mean, well, okay, second place. I forget. I keep forgetting, but still.
I got to cook the barbecue, which is also another passion. I love to cook, as you can tell by the lap over the belt. But they've called me last few years to cook the barbecue for the whole tournament up there. And
That's right.
That's
I
good
did
to
see
see
that
the
on
old
the
guys up there,
Facebook.
those old friends up there. It's just like the Big Rock. You meet old friends, you see new friends, you make new friends. There's a lot of young bucks in the game now, and it's just a camaraderie that is hard to beat.
Well, we were just talking to Captain Robbie Terry of Piracy, and it is fun to see the sort of changing of the guard coming, where there is. I'm glad that there's a new generation to take over the reins of some. You know, you've got people like Alan Skybel and Pete Zook and I know I'm forgetting other names, and Brent Gaskell, that are out there, and young people that have found their passion and found families to work with, and will keep the legacy of what this town has created and seen blossom over the last few years. Keep it going, because It's good for the town. It's good for our community. Big Rock has done quite a bit, not just from people visiting, but through the foundation. I mean, you can't drive quarter mile that way without seeing a sign that shows you that this was made possible via donation, and we hope to see it, keep going the way it has.
Yes, no doubt. It is something you want to continue. As we came up, you saw the bigger names, and a lot of bigger names from Hatteras, Oregon Inlet, the Omi Tillets, the Tillet crowd, and Stokes, and all those guys up there. And it's good to see the young folks. When I was going through, I looked at some of the guys and my sons, both of their classmates, and like, what are these kids going to do when they grow up? And now I bet I could probably name you half a dozen out of their classmates that are running sport fishing boats now.
How about that?
And that's pretty cool to see that they saw a passion and decided they wanted to go for it. And if it works for the family, it works for them.
A life worth living.
So, yes, a lot are in it just for the travel. They love to travel, see different spots, fish all the different spots in the world. And it's just neat to see the young people that are in it for the love of the fishing.
Well, Chuck, it's not every day we get somebody who's got their name on the plaque at Big Rock. So we thank you for coming in and talking to us.
And we hope that we'll see you back up again this coming up week here.
We do. And I got to say that Rob might be a little jealous because his wife's got her name up there twice.
Oh, okay.
for the ladies, but
that's right, the KWLA, which is another. Well, that's another one that I believe that is now the biggest ladies angler tournament in the world. I don't think there's a bigger one.
Look what that does for the ladies, and I
It's
actually
incredible.
enjoy the ladies. They get to see it 1 or 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So they're fun to be with. It's exciting to be around those women, to see them experience what we've experienced for a lifetime, and what they see maybe on 1 or 2 days.
The whole family gets to enjoy
Correct.
it. Chuck, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you guys, and go out and buy a Big Rock t-shirt.
That's right.